without further ado, you all know the motion, you all know the rules, I suppose. So, who's speaking first in OG?
Your name?
Dimitri first. OO?
Natalia.
Okay. CG?
M.
Okay. MCO?
Maria.
Okay. So, I invite Dimitri to open up the case for the government. Here.
Good day, everyone, and ask for excuse for not appropriate level of my English, but consider to pursue these arguments in logic. So we speak about the freedom of movement of refugees and complete freedom of this movement. Our government believes that refugees are those people that run from war or political repressions. And we will speak about those refugees and their movement. Also, we want to limit the case with time and possibility of facilities in each country or in each region where refugees are moved to. So we can allow the complete freedom of movement of refugees in any country or in any region inside one country, but that region or that country must have a very strict understanding of time and economy possibilities of support the quantity of refugees that had come, and also the economical facilities for quantity of refugees that can come in this region of country. The first, maybe most moralistic argument is humanism, that is one of criterion of democracy in civilization worlds. That and humanism order us to help other people, extremely in those situations when they are running from repressions or war situations, and those people have their life situation extremely bad, and rules of humanism compel us, yes, and if we talking about democratic countries or countries like Ukraine that have developing democracy, we must consider that humanism is one of the main points of developing this democracy. Then we want to say that economical profit of providing refugees that had come to any country with workspaces and some housing will be more than contain those refugees in some refugee camps or prisons, and even depart them from country, because any humans that have work can provide taxes and can support the economy of country, and all refugee camps and the system of deportation will only drain money from economy of country or of a region. That's why movement of refugees to any region will provide economical support if we have the first limitation of time and possibilities. Yes. Also, we want to talk about in-country refugees, like we have our citizens from Donbass regions that had moved to a lot of regions of Ukraine, and at first we have a moral obligation to accept them because they're citizens of Ukraine, and second, if we restrict the movement of in-country refugees to move, there should be very aggressive politics. Yes.
Can the war be based on different values except for political ones?
War, yeah, of course, war can be based, and war exceptionally based on economical reasons, and war also can be based on religion reasons, but you'll be talking about, I'll assume, we'll be talking about in-country refugees. We have a moral obligations, and also we have economical and demographical situation, for example, in Ukraine, that if we refuse to accept those refugees in other regions, their whole system of democracy on which we try to build our country will be loose, and that's all. Thank you.
Fine speech, and call for the case for opposition. I invite Natalia.
Hi everyone, as you know, my name is Natalia, and I'd like to start with the rebuttal of the arguments of the government. Firstly, I say that democracy and humanism is the reason why we should take the migration completely free. And we'd like to tell you that democracy doesn't mean the freedom of doing anything. Democracy also has restrictions, and our life is put in frames, and we should put the migration in frames. And you also said that economic profit of the country whose hostages, refugees will increase. But this is not an absolute statement. And my teammate will tell you about the problems this economic income may have, because the refugees also receive money from the country they are in, and the government spends money but not receive much. And my teammate will explain you what is the problem. And I'd like to continue with our position, and we state you that we are not against immigration. We are for it, but we think that there should be certain frames, certain restrictions on movement. Quantities of the amount of people to move. So, and we'd like to give you some arguments for this. The first one is that we care about the saving the life of refugees. Why? When we encourage the migration, or maybe ignore the migration processes at all and doesn't have any response to it, the migrants, they are eager to migrate, and the amount of them is big, and they don't think mostly about the consequences and about the process they experience while migrating. And there are examples when while migrating there are a lot of lethal cases where people die. We all know about Syrian migrants while they are migrating through Mediterranean Sea, they die while during their trip, and we don't want to have such sacrifices. We to have such victims. We'd like to save their life. And even coming to other countries, they are not certain whether if they were provided with all this stuff to survive in this country. So we think it is dangerous for migrants to migrate, and we'd like to prevent them from this dangerous. We'd like to restrict this migration. And I'd like to show you an example in Australia when they prohibited migration, and it has striking good example, striking good consequences. The amount of deaths increased. It happened several years in 2011 when people were migrating from Indonesia to Australia. And the amount of migrants also reduced, and the problem was solved. Our argument is about the reason of migration. People migrate because of problems in their country, as the government has said, about political problems. And these people don't want to solve these problems. They don't want to be responsible for these problems. They don't want even to try to solve them. They just want to escape, to flee the political disbalance, to flee that situation. And we should set restrictions and make them solve these problems. And we believe that forced to stay in their country, those people became more responsible. They were forced to somehow solve this problem and improve their life in their own country. And these are benefits not only for that country where there was a problem, but these people, if they have such a desire to migrate, they will be aware of is it point of information?
Yes, information.
Yes, of course.
Can you explain the difference between immigrant and refugee of political or war repressions?
Yes, political refugee, they escape from dangerous situation and they migrate because of persecution. People maybe political persecution, and this difference because this word isn't so meaningful in our game. We'd like people, I'd like to continue. We'd like people make solve the problems in their own country and make benefits, bring profits for their own country and make it prosper, and not flee in other and bring problems and to their teammates to explain why they make problems. So I'd like to sum up our position that we should restrict the refugee movement, first of all for their own lives, because it is dangerous for them to migrate. And the second one is that they should be responsible for their solving problems in their own country and not just escape. They should resolve them and not bring to another one. Thank you.
Thanks, Natalia. And to continue the government position, I invite Konstantin.
Yes,
you're here.
This lamp is perfect.
But I can watch you here, so it's not a problem. I got you live.
Line stream.
Technology.
Good morning, esteemed colleagues. I would like to open with the point that I consider important. I want to make some definitions clearer. We are talking here not about immigrants, but about refugees. And I think that it is very important to note, because refugees are people who have basically nowhere to return. So it is we can limit refugee stream to our country, but we cannot cut it out completely, because these people are basically desperate and they will go great length to get into this country. So our main concern here is how we treat these refugees once they enter our country. We have to realize that this will happen. And so I think looking at the crisis, refugee crisis in Europe, which was already mentioned today, we can see how different countries handle this crisis, and we should realize that their eyes are also on us, and if we do not provide these refugees with humane treatment, this might turn away our Western allies from us. So it is our obligation, for political reasons too, to treat them in humane and democratic way. To support my colleagues' arguments, why I think it can be economically beneficial. I think that refugees can drain money from the government, like my opponent said, but only if we actually do not support this motion, because detaining refugees, deporting them, containing them in prisons, this drains a lot of money, I agree. But if we provide them with basic housing, with work opportunities, they will actually give money to our economy. So I believe economic sphere will benefit. I also think that in certain countries, maybe in our country too, there is a certain demographic problem. So again, an influx of people can be beneficial overall. Like we can look at USA, who have tradition of accepting immigrants, a long history of it, and we can see they are thriving actually. And so maybe we should look up to them. Also, I would point out the stability, which in the case of poor treatment of immigrants can deteriorate. Like we can see in certain European countries whose governments were not ready to receive refugees. We see riots, we see outbreaks of racism, violence, and so on. So we have to be ready to handle this situation in the best way to avoid this. And perhaps we should bring in some limitations, not limitations, but
Point of information. So do you agree that movement of refugees should be free? Shouldn't be free? You agree
shouldn't
with
be
that?
free.
You agree with that?
No, I don't. Why do you think that I do?
You put some limit.
I didn't finish. I meant to say that once they're inside, we have to do our job. We have to provide them with housing and work opportunities. Of course, they should have free movement. We shouldn't harshly control this. Yes?
Could you please specify and clarify one more time, what do you mean by complete freedom? So what are the borders actually, and what are not the borders? What do you propose?
I believe that a refugee should not be detained or susceptible to violence from police or from rioting mobs and so on, only because he is a refugee. He should be treated like a citizen of the country, basically, in his movement across the country.
Just inside one country?
Inside our country, we are speaking about our country. Well, I think I'll wrap it up.
Okay. Thank you, Konstantin, for a fine speech, and I invite you again to continue the opposition side. You're here.
Alright, distinguished judge, we are here to see and face some bit of ambiguous case. However, let's make clear up a little bit. So the first definition of the opening government, that refugees are people that are escaping from war or political oppression. So here's the deal. Political repression isn't growing from anything. It has the basis. And that was the question from my point of information. The problem is the political repression isn't coming just for nothing. It's just not coming alone. It has economic basis. It has religious reasons, as you have already mentioned. So therefore, people are fleeing not because of the political situation itself that is bad, but from the bad conditions that those bases have caused. So what we were trying to deliver is that why the way of you treating the refugees next will be not that effective if we would do it other way. And I will explain it later. So first, some of the points of rebuttal. You said that influx of people will help us to develop our economy. And I'm asking how? Because the general increase of people will decrease the amount of places to work, will decrease the minimal wage. And there is a lot of consequences that are not counted in your argument. And therefore, I'm going to explain why this is not yet a complete motion, and not complete as a motion itself. So let's come to the arguments. The main reason of why people are going to other places is that because they want to find the safer place, the better environment for their development, because in their country has bad conditions, and because people simply want to pursue their happiness. But is it a dream? Because we felt that if people are going to another country, they are unprepared for the realities that they're gonna face. First of all, because the refugees, in order for them to be a complete element of the next society that they are going, it's going to be a long-term adaptation that government should support, that government should pay money for. So first of all, they need to fight the language barrier. So we will need to pay for their teaching. We'll need to technically prepare for them, professionally prepare for them, so they can find their job. We will need to pay for the job searches. No, thank you. Job searches, and we will need to check somehow of their competency. The reality now is that refugees that are coming from the developing countries, they are not competent enough. And they are coming to the country and meeting the same low kind of living because they face low-paid jobs. They're not getting good pay, and the possibility of them dying in poverty is quite a bit also possible. So therefore, there is also the tragic idea that our humanity could not turn out to be as good as we think, because we can't be idealistic. The life in Europe, as well as in the Arabian world, can be simply equalized. The risks are equalized. So therefore, we are coming to another step. When people are fleeing the country, they have some reasons for it. It could be economical, as you have mentioned, religious, and also basically because their quality of life is not enough good. So what we were, as opposition, would like to explain to you that this is not the best way. It is not the best way to allow them freely move, because we need to help them. We need to foster their will and their dream to change it, to actually resolve the problem. So it is better to pay money into humanitarian aid by teaching political culture, by investing into preparing qualified professionals, so then they can next live a better life. Not even in the crisis region, but maybe after even fleeing, they could get a better job. Because now it's obvious that competency of Zimbabwe doctors will not be equalized as the European doctors. Also, when they are fleeing, thank you. Yeah, you can pass me. Sorry, I was just joking.
So you deny the situation that there are a lot of refugees in the world, so you say that they must stay in their countries and no refugees will be.
They are not. As you have already said that we should have a strict control of them, but we cannot allow them to flee all around. We can't give them a free movement. You haven't explained what free movement is. And free movement in understanding of each person is when they want, they can flee. It's not because of the Syrian people that are fleeing from the war. It can be also people from Israel that are from Palestine leaving for religious war. It's very complicated. It also has a lot of consequences when people come back to the Europe or enter the Europe. So as the responsible government, we need to provide them with a long-term solution, not just a short-term solution. We can allow 1,000 refugees coming to our country, and we are economically competent for that. However, the conflict is still going to be there, and we will not be able to give a solution. And therefore, the only way to secure a long way solution for all this work is that we should invest money into preparing people to be fighting that, to foster the stamina for them to know that something is going wrong in their country, and I somehow can contribute for the resolution itself. So again, to wrap up, we think that this motion is not quite clear, first of all, and we asked our adjudicator to not accept this bill, of course, because there are a lot of consequences when refugees are fleeing, and we need to count on not only humane ways to deliver it, but deliver it in humane way and in long way as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for representing the first tables, and on closing government, welcome Anna.
Take this one, I'm sorry. So, hi everyone, my name is Anis, I'm from team Risky Tigers, and I will say what are our arguments. I'm sorry, a little moment. So, we will do our argumentation from 3 points. 3 points. First point, global problem, that refugees are a global problem. A second, problem of importing countries like European, US and others. And the second point will be problem of that people, refugees, I mean. So let's start from global problem. So yes, we suggest that it is global problem. Why? I will persuade you that it's global problem. Why? Because it affects the whole world. Refugees go from hot places to save their lives, from East countries, for example, Middle East, to European countries, US, USA, some to Latin America and other parts of the world. So it affects all continents and mostly countries all over the world, their governments, politics, issues, and etc. So then, it's global problem because, remember, please, after Second World War, there were created global organizations. For example, like to resolve such problems as war, as problems of refugees, like United Nations and its departments. Remember, yes? In 1945, it was United Nations created in this organization. Then other departments. And their main goals are to resolve problems of war, do not lead to wars, and if something happens, to resolve consequences. As refugees, we have this problem, and to help them. Because the main principles which were accepted in 1945 are principle of peace and no war anymore, because it was a great world war and nobody wants it anymore. And principle of humanism. What does it mean? That every person has rights and freedoms. So I go on. And the main right for every person on the earth is right for life. And life is the main value in the world, because you appreciate your life. Yes, you want to live on this earth. You want to see this wonderful world and to live and to be very happy and to be very in a peace world. You want to live. You don't want a war. We stay here, we're speaking now, and we're happy because we have no war. But imagine that the refugees, watch how unhappy they are. So, to decrease the level of victims from political, economical, religious, and other reasons, this organization should take some necessary solutions, like government should suggest to introduce complete freedom of movement for the refugees. It will be a good suggestion for resolving this global problem. Also, why should countries like members of European Union or US take care of refugees? I'll tell you. It's because I know later. It's because they were. I'll explain. European Union countries and USA, they were guarantors of peace after the Second World War when signed documents like Declaration of Human Rights, like Convention of Human Rights, and other documents. Second, because these countries escalated conflicts now in Iraq, in Syria, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and others. I think that you understand what I mean, and I will not explain it. For example, France, Germany voted for introduction of the forces in Syria, military forces, when the conflict only started. And they voted for this, and this was awful. And so, European countries and USA, they should pay for it. It's their own. It was their own decision, and that's why they should pay for it. I mean, take responsibility. Later. I mean, take responsibility for their decisions and for their consequences. So they was their own decision. That's why now they should take care and should let freedom movement for refugees. Now I go further. Now I go to our second point from the side of importing countries. So I will say the benefits for importing countries. Like what? First, cheap workforce. Good. It is very good for European countries, USA and other economies. Why? Because it is source of growth. Because there is a problem in European countries, there are a stagnation and low growth of demand, which not lead to economic growth. Like it was in Also, this cheap workforce is source of growth of level of competitiveness, and this will attract new investment in European countries, and European countries will start to grow as growth, for example, new industrial countries. Later. Also, there is an old nation in the European Union, so European Union will benefit. Why? Because the European Union needs new workforce qualified, and also I will say about refugees. Refugees could be qualified. They will be like brain drains, and which will work for European countries. And they could be non-qualified, which will work at workplaces which are non-preferable for citizens. Also, it is cultural exchange between countries, and I think it's clear. I will not explain cultural exchange. You know it. And we suggest that if not conflicts in society based on if we will not introduce this law, there will be conflicts in society based on dissatisfaction because people are under stress. I mean, conflicts which will be from refugees. And also, I will say about terrorism. You know that some people think that refugees also are terrorists and like this, but it is not true. There are a lot of terrorists from citizens of European countries. There are a lot of terroristic organizations there, and then I'll go further. So every people, the main point is. One point from refugees. Yes, it's a problem for them, and they want to have better life, better conditions, and they want to be alive. So life is the main value in the world. So we think that it's better for such people to live in Belgium, Germany, but not be killed by guns in Syria. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks, Anne. And in closing opposition, I welcome my old friend, Marianne.
Okay. My name is Miriam. I'm going to talk on the behalf of the opposition. And first of all, I'd like to stress that there is such a huge confusion in this game, and we'd like to clarify something. So the first government is talking about Ukraine and the refugees just having freedom of movement inside one region, which is kind of not a freedom of movement because it's just one region. Then you're saying things like European crisis, and then you're talking about the European refugees. So we are starting to be very confused with your definition and the way you perceive this motion. As you state that you are on the democracy side, however, you don't really explain why democracy is good, and we don't really agree with you on this matter. And none of the solid arguments have been actually proven, so that I can't really rebuttal them. The first opposition is talking mostly about how we should resolve the conflict inside the country, which we also yes, we agree with that we obviously have to contribute as much as possible to resolving the conflict, and it will be great, but that's not the point that our team would like to stress on. Then the second, Gal, thank you so much for the history lesson, that was very interesting, but the arguments you stated are very, they're good, and you had very common arguments in terms of economical stability and having the human rights and no racism, and as I want to say that we're not going to talk about how terrorism is horrible and all of the refugees are terrorists. No, that's not our point. We actually think that all the arguments that you stated are not going to work with your motion. Why? So first of all, you're saying that there will be economic stability, economically beneficial, demographically beneficial, there will be stability, there will be no racism, there will be cultural exchange, a lot of adaptation and stuff like that are not going to work with the freedom of movement. Why? We understand that the government is a system. It's like this huge mechanism which works only if all kind of these little things are rotating in the clock. No, thank you. So this huge mechanism cannot work if every little part of the mechanism works. So what I mean by that is that if we don't have stability and some kind of borders, we cannot control people inside the country. So for example, we as a country which has a good system and good mechanism know that this school should host 500 students, this university should host 17,000 students, this factory can employ 1 million people and stuff like that, and all these little points connect together in order to make this whole mechanism work. If we have the freedom of movement, we cannot control how many people live where, in which region, which means that these people are starting to destroy the system inside, which means we cannot control the system, and which means that it's going to get into the chaotic way. And we are stating that we are against chaos, we are for stability, we are for freedom of people inside one system. And we think that why is it good? Because as we know, government is something that was created in terms of making people happy, actually, because we know that people are not actually capable of arranging themselves as a community, as a society, which is why government is a system which is trying to make all the rules and laws in order to make these people safe, in order to make their life level as high as possible, and in order to make their life better. So all these things like economic development are only going to work if we know that Germany is going to host, for example, 2 million refugees. So it means that they calculated how many refugees they can host in order to make this whole system work, in order to make these refugees have their jobs, in order to make these refugees' children go to the school, to the university, to be educated, to be happy, and to live the life they want. If the system doesn't work, it would mean that refugees will go from country to country where system is not adapted, because they never know how many people will come, and there is freedom and we can control it. And as a result, refugees can be homeless, they can have no work, as a result they will have no money, and they are not adapted to the system, the society will not accept them, as you know, if we have some kind of special merging area for these refugees, they will not be able to find this, how do you call it, for example, some little space for them specifically, and they will be like left out of the society, which will make them even in a worse state they are right now. And if this freedom continues, they will just switch from one country to another, looking for a better life. But if they stay just in one country, for example, if they have no freedom of movement, that would mean that they will spend, we are thinking like more about the long-term benefits. Yes, we are keeping them in one place right now, but we are securing them with a good life, with a good education, with a job, with a shelter, like, so that they have normal, like, bed, they can sleep, they can have water, food and stuff like that. They don't have to switch from one country to another their whole life, looking for a better life. We want them to be in one place, having a stable life, developing themselves and the country and the society. Yes, sure.
So yes, it will be in long term. Yes, I agree with you. Countries should make procedure of legalization easy and open for such people.
Sure, but that would mean that they will be just in one simple territory. That would mean that, of course, we will open, like Germany, for example, it opens their borders for this amount of people, but they're staying inside and they're doing their job inside the country, which is basically preparing the system for these refugees. That's what we are talking about, and also in terms of preserving their, like, for example, about the brain drain, you said, actually it's a brain gain, obviously. That it's okay, but like obviously we are thinking about the benefits of accepting refugees. It's obviously going to be a good thing, but only if there is no freedom of movement. Only if we accept refugees, obviously it will be really good for demographics, as the Europeans are aging and we need like new people to come in order to take this place. So actually the system will work amazingly if we accept refugees, but we just need to make the system work. And in order to make the system work, we need to have borders, we need to have laws, and we need to follow these laws. And then actually we will improve not only the lives of refugees, as they will have jobs, they will feel themselves as people. If they want to come back to their country, it's also their right. There is like no problem with that at all. But we just want to protect the people and we want to improve the life of the citizens in the regions. Yes, so
Thanks. And to close the government bench, Victor.
I'm sorry. I should do this. Brain drain. I was right. Drain.
later.
Yes.
Hello everyone. I'm Victor and our team Risky Tiger. So I'll make first analysis for this game. And our line was our battle debate touch the three problems, 3 points that told my teammate about that country and refugee and global society. So let's talk about, for example, refuge. Our colleagues told and try to provide some bureaucratic mechanism which will stop some part of refugees to come to country. So they tell that we will put some guys inside, which will be good for us, and other will less. But our team, my teammate and our line told that it's natural process. That all that problems that you told, that decreasing wage, less work, long-term adaptation, and everything, all that, we tell that we have qualified and non-qualified, and they will get their job as per their possibility. So they'll get naturally their part in the society, in our society. We have, yes, we do not refuse that this is problem. Of course, refugee is a problem. So but we told that problem have another side, good side, economical good side for our country. It's not only dark as you told. And we want to save much more people as we can to protect human rights. The main idea, as told my teammate, is no war at all in the world. So we have another point. It's global society. Yes. As a result, this problem, refugee problem, stops, could stops, and our law could stop war at all in the world. Not completely maybe, but it should be less wars in the world. Because it's not very effective and good to have such free people in our country or maybe or another country. It's we have some benefits, but of course longer detention, something like this, isn't good. So as globally we have not interested countries to have war anywhere. So we have no war, and that global mechanism will work more effectively, as told my teammate.
Point of information. But will the global community work better if those people in the country will know how to resolve this conflict?
Yes, you understand, wars is not a problem only one country. It's problem of global problem. Example is, for example, Ukraine or another, or Syria. It's global. It's involved all countries in the world in that problem. It's trading of weapons, and it's some political ambitions. It's a lot of. And so we have our project will neglect that benefits. So another one is refugees. So our opponents told that refugees will have the equal risks in the war and equal risks in Europe to die from poverty. So we want to protect human rights at all. And we want to get them to choose where they have that risk. I think our opponents cannot estimate all sides of risks of war if they compare them with risks to get or not to get job. They even this is more a long time going risk. So my teammate told that it is like human like law, of course. But you should mention that everyone, and she told that it will protect all refugees all over the world. But you should understand that you, every one of us, could become refugee one time. It's very not controllable processes. Every country has some problems inside, and nobody can neglect it. Even European countries have problems inside them. So any politic changes, everything could be like a problem. So our law project will protect, it is one of the most important projects for protecting human rights all over the world. So our opponents tried to provide bureaucratic mechanism which will neglect for some people, refugees, to get inside our country.
You said that all that welfare programs are natural processes, and then you're saying that we're building a bureaucratic system. This bureaucratic system is inevitable. How can we avoid this? People will enter, they will enter.
Our law project will avoid this. Because bureaucratic mechanism is useful. Because you have only a lot of people on your border which are poverty, which have no food, which die from poverty, as you told, but they die in the road, near trees, under the sky. You don't give them an opportunity, even an opportunity. So our line and team want to give them that opportunity. You want to provide not human and not justful mechanism which couldn't protect all people. It protects just part. Our law try to give a chance for everyone to get his place in that life. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. Viktor and Raf to stay up. Welcome, Anna.
Hi everyone, my name is Anne and I am the second speaker of closing opposition, and today I'm here to wrap up our discuss and I want to start from forming some main points of our game and from creating some structure of our discuss today. And first of all, the main point that was given us by the first government is that we should be humanistic and we should give these people, the refugees, shelter. That we should help them to settle down, to help them to avoid the danger that they have in their own country. Of course, we as opposition we agree with the point that we should provide them a shelter, but by the first government the first government not clarified in what way we will provide them an absolute freedom of movement and in what way this absolute freedom will be conducted, and we just don't understand in what way we will provide this freedom of movement. Although the first opposition was quite, they said about the problem of unwillingness of migrants to develop their own countries if we create some absolute free area for them. And also the strongest point of opposition was the need to create some reasonable limits and reasonable frames of the migration, and not just leave it as it is, and not just be inattentive, and not just be ignorant, but not be create the frames of the migration. And my teammate developed this thought well, and she said about the need of these frames and the need of these limits, as well as the first opposition. And as long as we don't understand in what way you will provide this freedom and what kind of freedom it would be, we as a opposition were trying to explain why absolute freedom means rather chaos in this case than a good thing. And the opposition, especially my teammate Mariam, revised all the disadvantages of the unsettled life of the refugees that will be caused by absolute freedom, and she revised all the disadvantages of unstructured flow of refugees that will cover Europe and other countries as well if we won't create some limits for this flow. So our main point as I forgot. The second government said a lot about the advantages of migration. Yes, we understand that migration has some advantages, and we absolutely agree with it. But we we are trying to persuade you that this migration should have some limits and should have some structure and should have some system. Because when, as my teammate said, when it's unstructured flow, we have anarchy, we have chaos, and so on. And so our main point is to create some reasonable limits and frames of migration to make refugees happier, and as well our citizens will be happier when it will be some limits of it, and to give them a trustworthy shelter, not just multiple choice of countries where they can travel, and because as well as absolute inattentiveness and ignorance of refugees fall, the lack of limits will cause many problems and will cause many make many people unhappy. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, so leave the room, shake hands, and do not run away.
Thank you.
Too far.
Thank you.